broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hi there, everybody. Dr. Joe Dispenza here. My website's drjoedispenza.com. I'm the author of my latest book, You Are the Placebo, Making Your Mind Matter. And you're listening to Kate and Justin on Extreme Health Radio. I hope you enjoy the show.
Baby Kate, guess what God told me recently?
What did God tell you?
God told me that I should never step foot inside a gym again.
Oh, gosh. You are hurting over there, aren't you?
Yeah.
Gosh, your back. That nagging back injury.
My back. I threw my back out at the gym the other day, and I'm not sure what I did. Separated some sort of disc. So I'm just propped up here like a puppet.
I know.
With heating pads on my back and
hot water bottles.
And
just be careful when you lean over to press buttons today.
Oh my goodness.
Oh gosh.
Maybe the Rife machine would work on my back.
I know, right?
Dr. Connors about that.
Well, I'm trying to get you into acupuncture today, so we'll see.
Yeah, I should do that today.
Yeah, I would if I were you.
That would be good.
Yeah.
And I tell you, it's nothing like winter here. I'm not sure where you guys are listening all around the world, but here in Southern California, it's about 80 degrees and sunny and hot.
I'm kind of embarrassed to say
it's kind of strange.
It's worse than summer.
It's mid-February.
It is insane. We'll take it, though. Better than being piled in snow any day.
Yeah, that's good.
But it is a bit hot for my liking.
Very hot. Very, very hot. So today we have a great show. Dr. Kevin Connors is on the show, and we're going to be talking about cancer and some of his work that he's been doing. And that's really cool because we found out about him through a circuitous method, I guess, or means. We went to our dentist, Dr. Stuart Nunley, who is a biological dentist out in Marble Falls, Texas, to get some root canals worked on and actually root canals pulled, right? And then mercury fillings taken out and cavitations fixed and all this stuff. And when we were there, we went to a place called
Hill Country Health
Store. And there's a gentleman there who met with Kate and talked with her about a lot of her issues and talked about methylation and things. And while we're there, Kate had a Rife machine session. And so this guy, Andy, who owns the health food store, told us about this Rife machine and gave us the website for it. And then so I looked it up. And then when I did a bunch of research, and I found on YouTube a lot of talks with Dr. Kevin Connors. And I thought, we have to have him on the show. So he's an amazing guy, and he has a fellowship in integrative cancer therapy, board certified in integrative cancer therapy, fellowship in anti-aging, regenerative, and functional medicine, board certified in anti-aging, functional, and regenerative medicine, American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, currently studying for a certification in cardiovascular medicine at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine. Just the accolades go on and on. So his websites are Upper Room Wellness and StopFightingCancer.com. We're going to be talking specifically about cancer with him today. So thanks so much, Dr. Connors, for being on the show. We really appreciate this.
Well, I do too. It's nice to talk to somebody who is sitting in 80-degree weather and it's sunny when it's 20 degrees and cloudy and snowy and cold here in Minnesota.
Oh my goodness,
gosh.
Minnesota. How's the winter been over there? Has it been cold or has it been rather warm?
We've had some cold spells, but actually, all in all, it's been quite a mild winter for Minnesota's sake.
Wow. I have a friend that goes out to Missouri or somewhere near, I'm not sure, somewhere, Wisconsin, I think, and he goes snowmobiling, and it's he said it gets down to negative 20 below before the wind chill factor sometimes.
Oh, yeah, that's not so cold.
Oh,
my goodness. My goodness. Yeah, we've had a really strange winter here. It's been, we've had about a week or two of what's cold for us, getting down close to freezing, and then it's been 80 degrees here the whole time. I think there's global warming or something going on.
Oh, wow. Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. We'll take it.
So we should have done this live, like I could studio. Maybe we should have thought of that.
Oh my gosh, well, that would be awesome.
You'd be laying on the beach after this.
Yes.
So you have a clinic, because your website's Upper Room Wellness. Do you have a clinic where you are, or do you see patients, or how does all that work?
We do. I have a clinic. I see patients. The name of our clinic is Upper Room Wellness. We're actually in the midst of rebranding and changing it because of my books and material that is out there. Mm-hmm. People will call the clinic and go, I must have the wrong number. So we're actually changing the clinic to Connor's Clinic just for sake of lack of confusion on people's part as they communicate us. Yeah, we have a clinic here in Minnesota. We see probably about 70% of our patients are from out of state or out of country that come in. And we see about 70% cancer and 30% chronic Lyme.
Chronic Lyme, that's a big issue. Is there a connection, do you think, between the two?
Sometimes, but not a real strong one.
Now, I've heard, in terms of Lyme, we're going to be talking mostly about cancer, but in terms of Lyme, who was it? We were talking to a gentleman, I think, in Texas. I think his name is Dr. Stephen Hines.
It was Dr. Stephen Hines, yeah.
And he was doing a whole history of Lyme disease and how it came from, Lyme. I forget what
Connecticut,
Lyme, Connecticut, and they were working on some vaccines and somehow got into the deer there. Is there any truth to all that?
There's a lot of theories that the government won't admit to at this point in time because it could probably end up with some lawsuits. But across the bay from Lyme, Connecticut, there's a little island that it has been said that there was a lot of government experimentation during the Cold War to find a germ warfare bacteria to create cancer bacteria to try to keep up with the Russians during the Cold War. And it was theorized that a bird could have taken a tick that was infected with the Borrelia bacteria across the bay, and that's how the first Lyme disease started, with the group of individuals becoming very, very ill with a strange bacteria that could not be identified at the time in Connecticut. And it just spread across the country, especially in tick-infested areas through woods, and it spread through the deer tick, obviously.
Yeah, and people hunting, and then the deers, spread the ticks to other animals, and people hunting, and then they get bit, and it just continues on.
Oh, I've had Lyme disease twice.
Oh really? Goodness. From a tick?
Yep, problem? From a tick bite.
Isn't that wild?
So I know we're going to get on to cancer, but as far as Lyme goes, I have so many friends that have had these odd, I'm sure you see it all the time, just these very strange things going on with their body. And they say that Lyme is super hard to diagnose. My best friend was misdiagnosed a few times with other things. What, in your experience, is the best way to test for Lyme? And is there a...
Well, Lyme disease is initially begun with a bacteria. It's a Borrelia burgdorferi bacteria. That is a classification of bacteria that's called a gram-negative bacteria.
Okay.
And that family of bacteria have kind of a different ability than other bacteria because they have the ability to go inside of a cell, and most bacteria are too large to go inside of a cell. So when a person is infected with a virus, the way a virus causes problems in that person's body is that it reproduces inside of a cell. So that's why antibiotics don't work on viruses, because the antibiotics don't go inside the cell. So whenever you're infected with any pathogen, like a bacterial infection, it first circulates through your bloodstream, then goes extra outside of the bloodstream and stays in the extracellular spaces between the cells. So in my book, there's really 3 phases of Lyme disease. So in the acute phase of Lyme disease, you still have the bacteria either in the bloodstream or in this around the cells, in the extracellular spaces. It has not yet gone inside the cell.
Okay.
And when it's still in the bloodstream, then a blood test for Borrelia will be positive. But it's not going to stay in the bloodstream very long, or you're going to end up, you have sepsis. The way your body deals with it, it tries to kill it. So in the way a bacteria or any organism functions, it's solely trying to survive. So it is going to scatter from your immune system as fast as possible. So the Borrelia goes outside of the bloodstream and inside between the cells. It's still in the acute phase. So a person gets antibiotics at that time, you can kill it completely. And that was my case. I had acute Lyme twice. I killed it effectively with antibiotic use. But if I didn't have the symptoms that some people don't have with acute Lyme, in my first case of acute Lyme, I had this huge bullseye rash and I got deathly sick. I went and got antibiotics right away because it was obvious what I had, killed it within literally a day. I felt back to normal. The second time I had it, I did not have a bullseye rash. I got just acutely sick. And some people don't get that, but I did. I was just very sick. I first thought it was food poisoning. I hadn't really been outside very much, but I had been petting a friend's dog. Finally figured out that I got it from the dog. The tick came from me from the dog. Finally got an antibiotic, knocked it out of me right away. I still caught it in the acute phase. However, if you have even one little teeny bacteria that goes intracellular inside of even one little bitty cell, now you move into phase 2, which is chronic Lyme, because now it can reproduce inside that cell. Once the immune system calms down or you don't have any more circulating antibiotics in that area, it goes again extracellular, starts reproducing, hides back in other cells, and it just starts to create this chronic disorder that you can't kill because your immune system can't go inside the cell either. So it hides inside the cell and can cause all sorts of problems. And to do a blood test or typically they'll test for antibodies to Borrelia. Well, your Th2 side of your immune system was never able to find the Borrelia in the first place to make antibodies against it. So you don't even have any circulating antibodies. So, and it's not going to be in the blood. So then people are given these false negative by their doctor. Oh, we did the blood test and it's negative. Well, that does not mean you do not have chronic Lyme. So it's difficult to test for. I use some different testing procedures that are a little bit different where we can find it very simply, but then it gets worse. So a person can have chronic Lyme and have, long-standing issues for weeks, months, years. And every time it goes extracellular, it's going to elicit an immune response. So your immune system has really two sides to it. You have your killer side, and then you have your side that makes antibodies. So if you could put your immune system into kind of a cartoon, the Th1 side is your immediate response, and those are like your Marine Corps with machine guns. They're out there looking for the enemy to kill. Your Th2 side is like your CIA, FBI. They're looking for the enemy to tag it with an antibody. That's your B cell response. So whenever you get any infection, you'll fire an immediate Th1 response. Those Marine Corps will be sent out into the bloodstream to kill that infection, and then it kills it and it calms back down. It goes back into balance. But with a chronic infection that has the ability to hide inside the cell, every time it goes extracellular and starts reproducing to any extent, your Th1 side fires, you start creating antibody, or start creating all these macrophages and Th1 cytokines and chemokines out there circulating, trying to kill this bacteria. And then it goes back and hides inside the cell. So then the Th1 response isn't able to kill it, so it kind of calms down, and the Th2 response fires in an attempt in a normal infection to tag that thing that the Th1 response fired against with antibodies, so it can be killed when the Th1 cells fire again. The Th2 side fires, and it's like, where is this guy you're trying to kill? We can't find it. We can't find it. Well, you do that back and forth Th1, Th2 response over weeks and months and years. Pretty soon you start, this Th2 response is out there, can't find the thing that the Th1 response was firing against. It starts making antibodies to your own cells.
Okay. And that's where a lot of the symptoms come in.
Well, then you moved into phase 3. You have an autoimmune disease.
start attacking
interesting.
yourself.
Is it possible? I was just thinking as you were talking. I wonder if it's possible that someone could have chronic Lyme and it lowers, the immune system. Their whole life is trying to deal with this chronic Lyme, and there could be a relation to cancer in that way because obviously, if someone's immune system is working properly, they wouldn't get cancer. So I'm wondering if Lyme could lead to cancer because of all that you were just saying.
Well, it's true. So we're here to talk about cancer, and I tend to rattle here.
I'm interested in it all.
It's all related, it seems, kind of.
Yeah.
But typically, people with real debilitating chronic Lyme end up with that phase 3 autoimmune Lyme, and they're typically Th1 dominant.
Okay.
That means their Th1 side, their killer side, is in a hyper-firing state. And that's why they have such horrible symptoms, because they're constantly destroying self-tissue. So if the Lyme Borrelia had gotten past the blood-brain barrier into the brain, and you start making antibodies against your neural tissue, either your neurons or your glial cells. There's certain glial cells that actually wrap the neurons. Those are that's what's called the myelin sheath. When you start making antibodies against myelin sheath cells, you're destroying those. You're going to end up with a diagnosis of MS or ALS, because that's what MS and ALS is you're destroying your myelin sheath cells. And the cause of it is an autoimmune issue, and the cause of MS is not always Lyme, but Lyme can be the cause of, horrible diseases that can kill people.
It's fascinating how wrapped around, everything is with Lyme's. It's crazy how it could sort of morph and be looked at as hundreds of different ailments that people have.
It's got to be so frustrating.
Yeah, it's got to be very frustrating because people that have ALS or these other multiple sclerosis or other types of things, they're not looking for Lyme to begin with. So you got to go down all these rabbit trails to figure all that out.
Well, the biggest thing for a practitioner, for somebody who has a disease, is you can't be satisfied with the diagnosis. Oh, I have MS. Well, why? Well, it's a disease. Well, I know, but there's a reason why you have MS. Do you understand what MS is? You have degeneration of your myelin sheath. That's why you have these neurological symptoms that we now call MS, and you can see it on an MRI, and it is plaquing of the neurons. Well, there's a reason why, so you have to dig in to find out what that reason why. And I'm not suggesting that it's always Lyme, but there's some reason why your immune system is attacking your myelin sheath. Let's figure it out.
Yeah.
So when we get satisfied with, oh, I have this disease, now I have a Latin name to it, and we're just bound to suffer the consequences of what the Merck manual says, you've already missed the mark as far as being a good doctor and really trying to find out how to fix your problem if you're the one with the disorder.
Yeah, because I can see how, a lot of people love to have that diagnosis or that label of whatever it is, just the name attached to it. And interesting that you said that, because it does seem like a trail where people end. They're just, they just say, okay, well, now that I have this, all the investigation sort of just ends at that point. Now what do we do with it? But realizing that that's just the beginning, and just trying to figure out why you have it and how it came into your life. And the same goes with cancer, right? People think, oh, I have, breast cancer or testicular cancer or some other kind of cancer, but they don't really ask the deeper questions, do they?
Well, unfortunately, they don't. If you don't, then you're just, I guess you relegate yourself to the consequences of what your medical doctor is going to tell you to do. So you get a diagnosis of breast cancer, let's say, and, well, I guess we just follow the protocol that is listed by the oncology board, which is you're going to get chemo, radiation, probably surgery, and never asking, well, why is it there in the first place? It's the old thing of, if your fish in the fish tank is sick, do you treat the fish or do you clean the water? Because you have to look at the reason why and dig into that to be able to ultimately get the patient better. Even if you need to use drugs, and I'm not against using it. My clinic is very integrative. Mm-hmm. I send people for chemotherapy at different times as well, because sometimes you need to debulk a cancer and knock it down. Mm-hmm. But if you don't fix the blue that caused it in the first place, it's going to be very difficult to get the patient better.
Fascinating stuff. We're going to take a little bit of a break right now, but I want to come back and ask you of the different types of cancers that you deal with and you have been working with people, and if there's a real difference between, some people just say that the different types of cancers are not as meaningful because it's all one disease anyway. And so we'll talk about that with Dr. Kevin Connors. If you're interested in his book, you've written a great book, right? And it's available. Did you say before the show it's available for people?
It's all my books are available as a free download. You can buy them off Amazon. Actually, the cancer book and the Lyme book as a download are expanded upon, because I actually give it to you in parts with a video also to make it a little easier to digest.
Very cool.
We'll share those websites at the end. This is great, but his main website is upperroomwellness.com, or with Dr. Kevin Connors. Just fascinating stuff. And we're going to be right back, and right after this break. Did you know that conventional dog food contains antibiotics, herbicides, pesticides, ground up carcasses from roadkill subjected to high heat processing, artificial colors, chemical preservatives, way too many carbohydrates, genetically modified corn syrups, indigestible grains, and a lack of moisture content in the dry kibble? Obviously, this can lead to health conditions like diabetes, itchy skin, teeth and gum problems, liver damage, obesity, behavioral issues, pancreatic problems, and even cancer. That's why we recommend the BARF diet, which is the biologically appropriate raw food diet from Barf World. Their unprocessed raw meats contain bone, organ meats, vitamins, and minerals that are loaded with enzymes. Barf World founder Robert Mueller explains more.
Sure, I don't have to convince you on the damage that's caused by high heat to food. So as a result, we see many skin disorders, a lot of arthritis, obesity, heart disease, cancers. I mean, it's just rampant. The vet clinics are just full of these conditions. And basically a large percentage of the commercial pet food that's made up of the human industry leftovers. And the pet food industry makes use of this waste product. And in addition to that, we are subjected to the products coming out of the rendering plants. Garbage in, garbage out. If you feed garbage to your dog, you're going to end up with garbage health. You know, if you put the right gas in, your engine runs smoother and lasts longer. So if you put the right fuel in the tank, you're going to get the right output. Garbage in, garbage out.
We've seen an immense difference with our dog Maggie being on this diet. Give your dog the gift of health today by going to extremehealthradio.com/barf or go to our store. That's extremehealthradio.com/barf to learn even more.
Hey guys, if you've been following our work for any length of time, you know that I'm a big fan of raw food. I did a raw food diet actually from 2003 to 2010, 100%, and I loved it. And raw food is a huge part of my diet, and I just love it. And if you're interested in making healthy, really amazing raw food dishes without spending hours and hours in the kitchen, I would highly recommend checking out a program put together by Russell James called the Raw Chef Program. You can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/raw chef. And I have to say, it's absolutely incredible. I have it, and it's got hundreds of hours of video, professionally done video, along with workbooks and PDF files. And he walks you through how to make the most amazing, delicious raw food meals that don't take forever. Everything from mock pizzas and pasta to ice cream to cheese to fluffy bread, if you can imagine it. It's incredible. So I highly recommend you checking it out. It's you can check it out at extremehealthradio.com/raw chef. And I think you are absolutely going to love this program. So check it out now.
100% listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
And Facebook is a great way to stay up to date with our shows. I just was a little bit late right now, but usually I post to Facebook right when we go on the air. So if you are on there, happen to be on there right at the exact time that I post, you can jump on our live show and listen live at extremehealthradio.com/live. And we're doing shows right now every Friday at 9 a.m. Pacific. That was a mouthful. I had to take a breath.
If you can make it through this, that water bottle attached to your back. I feel so bad for you. You'll get through it.
I'm getting better minute by minute.
Yes, you are.
Whether I believe it or not, or
yes,
whether it's actual or not.
Yes.
So we're with Dr. Kevin Connors today, and if you guys are interested in him and his website and the stuff that he's got going on, lots of great things at stopfightingcancer.com as well as upperroomwellness.com. Dr. Connors, I wanted to ask you, what was the motivation there for making your books free? You said you can buy the physical versions on Amazon, and then you give away free versions?
Yeah, what is the motivation? I don't know. I haven't figured that one out.
I love it.
I don't know. I mean, we really see our clinic as a ministry. I know that, we can't treat everybody. We just can't. So we give people the tools that they can do some things themselves if that's possible. And, I like to do public speaking, and I like to give away information. I don't want people to have a codependent relationship with me either. So,
That is amazing.
That's awesome. So people can support you by buying it on Amazon, but then they can go and download the book for free, and then it's like an ebook. Is that what they get?
Yeah, the cancer book and the Lyme book, I used to give away just the PDF copy of the book for free, but I found that a lot of people just said that it's a lot to chew on. So I broke it into sections, and every couple of days they get a section of the book and a little video, just between a 4 and a 20-minute video, kind of elaborating on the subject. So it's just more helpful.
That is such a cool idea. I love it.
Absolutely amazing.
I love it. So is there any truth to what we were talking about before? Some naturally minded doctors who kind of don't make a distinction between different types of cancers. Do you see I'm sure you see lots of different types of cancers yourself.
We do. And I would say the answer to that would be yes and no. There are certain cancers that you treat a little bit differently than other cancers. But let's say a breast cancer. Is it important to me that it's inflammatory breast cancer or any other type of breast cancer? The answer to that would be no.
Okay.
Some that are more aggressive, we want to do some things that may be more aggressive, and some that are hormone related. Like a HER2-positive breast cancer, we'd want to add some little different pieces of nutritional protocol to that. So it does matter in a sense, but ultimately you have to really come down to uncover, what we call our 4 steps or our 4 pillars. Or you have to find the cause and get rid of that. You have to find out what is going to be the nutraceutical, quote-unquote, cancer killer that's going to work best for that specific patient. That's the second piece. What frequencies are we going to use? Because we use the Rife machine with every cancer patient. What specific frequencies are going to be best for that patient? And then number 4, what are the other supportive things? Are we going to do juicing? Are we going to do coffee enemas? Are we going to do, some other detox? Do we need liver detox support? Do they need methylation pathway support? Do they need some support for their spleen or for red blood cell production? It just goes on and on there. You have to be a complete doctor. So
that's true. So on the first step, how do people find out what causes their cancer? Because most of the time, people that are just, I would imagine, the average American person or just someone out there that doesn't really think about their life or their stress levels or anything like that, how do they go about finding what could be causing? Or do you think that everyone really does know as long as they just kind of look hard enough?
No, that's the one step that I can't really teach on in a book because it's a technique that I use to be able to find that out. So that is a difficult piece. So can a person guess, I lived on a farm, it's a pesticide issue? Probably. Well, there may be some truth to that. I have a number of people with cancer that grew up on a farm that the cause of their cancer came up pesticides. But that doesn't mean that everybody who lives on a farm that they're going to get cancer, or even anybody who is exposed to a high amount of certain type of toxin that's going to end up causing cancer. So, that's a difficult one unless you have somebody you could go to that you feel really confident in their approach that can diagnose that. That one is difficult to be certain of. Now, I always say that it's really important to know that, but in truth, is it really important to know that to get rid of the cancer that you have? No. It's important to know that mainly to prevent other primary cancers from starting, even if you do win and killing this one that you got going on, and to help prevent metastasis. But knowing, let's say I have cancer and it's caused from H. pylori infection, and I don't do anything to the H. pylori infection because I don't even know that, and I used even conventional methods and it really helped kill the cancer. Does it mean that I'm going to get cancer again because I still have H. pylori? No, it doesn't. But it certainly would be wise to figure that out so that it can help reduce the possibilities.
Do you think there's any issue, or not issue, but is there any importance on if someone does like a traditional radiation and chemotherapy before they do a natural treatment? Is there importance in the order in which they go about treating their cancer?
I would say that there's a wiser order in a person's decision-making process. Doing a natural approach, if a person has decided that they are going to do a conventional approach, should I wait to do the natural approach after I do the chemo or radiation? That doesn't even make any remote sense to me whatsoever. So doing a natural approach in itself is going to help a person go through chemo and radiation much easier. So that's what integrative cancer therapy, that's really all my training, is that you can help a person go through whatever choice they make. It is, quite honestly, it's rarer to me to have a patient come to me and say, I just found out I had cancer. There's no way I'm doing chemo or radiation or anything. I'm just coming to you and let you treat me. Those are a pleasure to get because, quite honestly, you see better success with people when they do that. But it's most of our patients come to us, it's a last-ditch effort. They did chemo, radiation, and surgery, and now they were told they have 2 months to live or 2 weeks to live. Go get your affairs in order. Then they typically seek out somebody like me. Unfortunately, that's just the way it is because people are scared to death when they hear the C word. So they kind of go into a mental coma and end up going down the route of conventional medicine, even if they wouldn't have with other diseases.
So
and
interesting.
Maybe they didn't with other diseases.
So fascinating how that works, how people will do that. And the problem with that, though, too, is that a lot of times after the immune system's been sort of compromised and ravaged through so much chemo and all the radiation, and then you do the natural treatments, it seems like the natural treatments will get the brunt of the criticism at that point. We don't see that quite so much. We don't get a lot of criticism, but it is true that the immune system does take a huge hit with chemo and radiation, and people don't realize, and oncologists are not honest with people, unfortunately, that the way chemo works is it destroys
rapidly replicating cell lines.
Mm-hmm.
So cancer, by definition, is a rapidly replicating cell line.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's good, isn't it? So chemo attacks rapidly replicating cell lines. Well, so are your hair follicles. That's why your hair falls out with chemo.
Mm-hmm.
And so is your immune system. So that's why your immune system is so ravaged with chemo.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good. We need your immune system to fight off cancer, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it even gets worse than that, because by the time a person is diagnosed with cancer, they already have hundreds of thousands of circulating tumor cells that have split off the cancer and are circulating around your body. That's just the way it is.
Uh-huh.
And they're, you could say, looking for a place to set up home and raise a family. And if they do, that's called metastasis.
Okay.
However, circulating tumor cells are not yet rapidly replicating. They are circulating tumor cells. They're not yet cancer, meaning cancer is defined by a cell that won't die, won't go through apoptosis, and is in a rapid replication stage. A circulated tumor cell is not yet in a rapid replication stage. So they are just looking for a place to do that.
Mm-hmm.
What's keeping them at bay is your immune system. So your white blood cells, go back to Th1, Th2 response.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a healthy enough Th1 response, the macrophages and other white blood cell killer cells will see those circulating tumor cells as, ooh, what's this? That's not supposed to be here. That looks funny. Let's kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kills it so that you don't get metastasis. That's why the instance of metastasis goes up so high post-chemo. So you take chemo, it knocks down that big lump in your liver, so, you're doing so much better. Look, we got it down to nothing. You're cured of cancer. We give you a clean bill of health. Well, you just destroyed this person's immune system over this period of 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
2 years later, the cancer came back with a vengeance. How many times have you heard that phrase?
That happens all the
Came
time.
back with a vengeance. No, you destroyed their immune system so that now they have no ability to stop the metastasis, those circulated tumor cells that now it's not just in their liver, it's in their lung and their intestine and their pancreas, and now they're resistant to chemo.
Mm-hmm.
So if a person is going to do a conventional approach, timing-wise, they should do a traditional approach is a choice. An integrative approach, an alternative, what we want to call it, natural approach, really shouldn't be a choice. You have to do that. You have to do some things different. You have to change your lifestyle. It doesn't mean you have to come to somebody like me, but you have to start thinking about juicing and changing your diet and changing your environment and detoxing and cleaning your body out and changing your stress levels and try to make some changes, because whatever you were doing got to where you are now.
Fascinating stuff. We're going to take a little bit of a break right now, but after the break, I want to ask you a little bit about some strategies people can take, because I feel like there's people that listen and people that they really want to do a natural approach, but they end up going the chemo route. And I know over the years, I can't think of them offhand, but there are supplements and minerals and things like that people can take, even if they've decided to go through chemo, that really mitigate the damage, but then also allow them to feel better, so they're less nauseous and they're able to deal with stuff. And so maybe we can talk a little bit about that after the break, because I'm drawing up a blank here on what those are, but I know there are substances out there. We're with Dr. Kevin Connors. His website, if you're interested, is upperroomwellness.com, as well as stopfightingcancer.com. And interesting name of the book. I want to ask you about that, because everywhere you look, people are fighting cancer. It's really interesting how people talk about this whole huge fight against breast cancer and fight against this and fight against that. So we'll talk to Dr. Connors about that after the break, and we'll be right back. Kate and I have had our sauna for about a year now, I'd say, when we first got it from Phil Wilson. And it's an incredible machine. We use ours about every single day. Kate sits in about 20 minutes, and I sit in there about for a half hour. Usually watch a documentary, and it's extremely relaxing. It's really, really incredible machine. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/sauna, you can learn all about it. We did an entire hour interview with Phil Wilson. You can check that out. You can look at the pictures of us with it. You can watch videos on that page. It helps you to sleep really, really well. You can lose a lot of weight with it. You can burn, I think, around 600 calories in about 20 minutes or so. It improves your skin, increases circulation all over the body, and circulation is critical for your health. You can prevent and reverse diseases with it if you have a cold or flu. It's incredible. It heats you down to the core. It heats 4 to 6 inches inside your body, so it's really incredible. And a lot of people use it for cancer as well. So if you have any kind of incurable, quote, disease, you can use it for that. And Dr. Shade is the foremost authority on detoxification. And listen to what he says about it.
How do I detoxify from plastics? I mean, you guys are using a sauna, and what does a sauna do for us? A sauna is great. It's moving a number of different toxins. Remember, we talked about the mice that if you put PCBs in there, then that made the mercurial that much worse. And sweating moves out a lot of plastics, volatiles, fat-based toxins. It's really good at moving those out, sweating those out. So that's how you're getting those out, and those are contributing to this synergistic soup inside the body. And so that's why they're good, is they're taking out a bunch of the different things in the soup.
And Daniel Vitalis, one of our favorite guests. What do you have to say about the sauna?
When you go into the sauna, like a far infrared sauna like you discussed, your body goes into a deep relaxation mode, and your sympathetic nervous system shuts down and your parasympathetic nervous system turns on. And when that's active, that's the nervous system, part of your nervous system that's active when you meditate. That becomes active, and your detoxification pathways open up wide. Why is this important? It's important because when you go running and you sweat, you're not necessarily eliminating very much toxicity from your body. But when you sweat in the sauna, you eliminate a lot of toxicity from your body. So sweating in a relaxed state is how we eliminate. The other thing is that what's wonderful about the sauna is that it puts you in a parasympathetic nervous system response, like as if you were meditating. So it's almost a hack. It's like a trick to get yourself into a meditative, relaxed state, to decompress stress, to reverse the effects of stress, and to get your body eliminating deep, deep toxicity that's stored in your body fat, because it can come out in the oils of your skin. So I think, sauna is one of the most crucial detoxification, really health practices that we could take on, especially in this era of heavy toxicity, particularly fat-soluble toxins.
The sauna is really, really great. They offer payment plans, because if you buy it through PayPal, it's 100% secure. You don't even need a PayPal account. I think you could do a payment plan through PayPal. It's got low EMF electromagnetic fields coming off of it. It's portable, so that means you don't have to knock down a wall in your house. You can just move it from room to room. It sets up in about 2 to 5 minutes. It's super easy to clean. All you got to do is wipe it down when you're done, and wipe the neck down. And it produces energy and heat inside very, very evenly throughout the whole machine. All you have to do is sit in there for about 15 minutes a day. And the great thing I like about it too is it requires zero preheating. So you turn it on and you're starting to get warm, and you're starting to detoxify with that far infrared light almost immediately. So it's really great. It comes with a 1-year warranty. It's about $990 plus $25 shipping. And that's really, really a good deal, because if you look at most of the regular saunas out there, they are in the $2,000 to $4,000 range. So this is really, really a good deal. So check it out, extremehealthradio.com/sauna.
All free shows, all the time, on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
And Carol from Florida, if you are listening to this, your sauna just went out today. So we'll be sending you a shipping or a tracking number very soon as that becomes available. But Florida, I can imagine, is very...
I was going to say, Dr. Connors probably needs one more than she does right now. She's probably having weather like us.
I know, very hot. But Carol, your sauna will be coming shortly, and we're very excited for you. So we can't wait for you to get
Yippee.
it. And if you guys would like to join our newsletter list, that would be a great way to keep up to date with our shows. And we give you some really great bonuses for signing up. And I highly recommend doing that. We've got just thousands of people that are on our email list. So if you go to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe, as the lady said, you can join up and we won't spam you. We'll just send you some awesome information. And I think you're really going to enjoy it. There's a little audio program course that I offer there on the thank you page after you confirm your email. So lots of cool stuff coming out of there. So go to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe if you're interested in joining our community, and we'd appreciate that. We'd love to have you aboard. Dr. Connors, I wanted to ask you a little bit about some of the supplements that people can take, maybe if they've decided to go along with the traditional approach to cancer. But first, I wanted to ask you about your book, because it's kind of a surprising title, and most people are inclined in our culture to fight against things, march against Monsanto and all these different things, to fight against things. And so I was curious about the title of your book.
Well, I always think it's better to be positive for something than to be fighting against something, number one. But there is an emotional component to every disease as well. So you could argue that one of the emotional components, not always, but to a disease can be anger and aggression and upset and frustration and maybe loss in their life in the past, or abuse, or all sorts of what we would consider negative things that happen to us. And I think that I just believe that having the attitude that I'm going to fight this thing and I'm going to beat this thing and adds to that and is not healing as far as an emotion goes. I think where I see the people that have the most success are the ones that, first of all, I know that when you hear the word cancer, it's going to elicit a lot of fear and anxiety in a person's life. I don't think you'd be human if you didn't experience those things. Mm-hmm. But you have to get out of that stage and move into, okay, I can accept this. This is what I have. Now I'm going to ask for wisdom, and I'm going to try to walk in that wisdom, and I'm going to make choices that are going to be weighed out and make the best choices for me. Mm-hmm. People do get kind of corralled into one approach, typically the traditional approach to cancer, because they're in fear. Mm-hmm. So when you're in a state of fear, it's very easy to surrender your will to somebody who seemingly has authority and more knowledge than you. Mm-hmm. So it kind of partly takes away the responsibility to have to figure this out yourself. I'm just going to let the doctor do it. He's the doctor. He's supposed to be the best oncologist in the country, and I'm just going to let him do everything that he tells you to do. I don't think it's a good idea to surrender your will to anybody, and that you should be that you should take a step back, maybe a few steps back, and think about this for a little bit. You always have more time than typically you're told, and I don't think it's a good idea to be in a fighting mode. Mm-hmm. I think it's better to be, okay, let's be wise. What am I going to do about this? I'm not going to stick my head in the sand and pretend it's not there, but I'm going to be wise and make a decision based upon gaining much information and then go forward from there.
We've heard a lot of people talk about that, about how typically, this is on obviously a per case basis, but we've had a lot of doctors on our shows say the exact same thing. Whenever you're talking to your doctor, a lot of times you have a lot more time than what they say you do. And I don't know if doctors, I'm not really convinced they're, horrible people trying to give drugs and kill you with chemo, but I think that maybe they think it's a lot more dire, and maybe they want to get you going on chemo. I'm not sure the motivation. I guess we'll never know the motivation of each individual doctor, but there is more time a lot of times, isn't there?
Yeah, there's always more time than the immediate present. Mm-hmm. So if you have a very aggressive pancreatic cancer, you should probably make a decision about doing something within the first couple of weeks. Mm-hmm. But it is you always have you never need to be rushed into care. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
Yeah, I think that's where people go wrong often. We've had multiple friends that have, you're right. You get the diagnosis, you freak out, and the next week you're already doing something pretty drastic. And
yeah, that happens a lot.
It does happen a lot, unfortunately. I'm curious, when people come to your clinic, is your clinic, they don't obviously, I'm sure, spend the night there, but do they come for weeks or months, depending on the case, and spend the whole day at the clinic doing different treatments? And how does that look for people in recovery?
So at our clinic, people spend 2 full days.
Okay.
So after those 2 full days, then they go home with a protocol. So during those 2 full days, we're testing them, and we're scanning them. We're doing a bunch of different things to come up with the protocol that's going to be specific to them. Mm-hmm. Then after that, then they get multiple follow-ups. Typically, we follow them through 6 months to a year of care. Okay. Most of their care is done while they're sleeping, too.
Really?
So that kind of ties into my philosophy with the book, is I don't want my cancer patients thinking about their cancer all day long. I don't think that's good. You don't, what's the old saying? You become what you think about all the time, or something like that. And there's some truth to that. And if you're going to be thinking about killing your cancer all day long, you develop an obsession that is unhealthy. I want my patients, honestly, I have a lot of patients that they quit their job because they're sure they're going to die now, and they're getting their affairs in order. My comments are, go get your job back, become a productive member of your community. Maybe they don't have to go get their job back, but go spend some time with your grandkids. Enjoy life. Plan for your future. Develop a 5-year plan. Stop thinking about your cancer. So my approach is, let's use wisdom. Come up with a plan of attack. We're going to follow that plan of attack, and make the plan of attack so that it doesn't consume your day, so that you can live. There's some cancer alternative as well, cancer methods out there that basically consume your entire day. Mm-hmm. Yes. Making juice every hour, cleaning the juicer, going to the store to buy more vegetables, got to make juice again this hour, got to do 5 coffee enemas a day, got to do this, got to do that. It's like, honestly, if that was living, I'd rather just die of the cancer. Yeah, maybe that's me.
We often say that ourselves.
I know. Sometimes it's...
Why fight to live when you're living, when your quality of life is nothing?
So our approach is yes, we do juicing with a lot of patients, but it's typically just in the morning. I want them to go to work then, or to go live their life, to go walk the beach if they're retired, to go play golf if that's what they want to do, to be planning for their future. The way we use the Rife machine is that I write programs that are overnight programs. So they're using the Rife only while they're sleeping. So they're getting the majority of their treatment while they have to sleep anyhow. So they're using the Rife at night while they're sleeping.
So are most of these people getting a Rife machine themselves and taking it home with them? Is that kind of how it works?
So if a person's going to come to our office with cancer, they're going home with a Rife machine. That's part of our package.
Ah, okay. Awesome.
That's not a choice. So I won't treat anybody if they won't do that. I mean, They don't have a choice.
We had a listener question in the chat room. Because you're integrative, and we wanted to ask you this, because you're doing integrative medicine, what's the health insurance coverage like for your practice?
Well, we're integrative by philosophy. So I don't think it's healthy to be dogmatic, meaning that, I'm an alternative doctor, I hate medical doctors, or I'm an oncologist, I hate alternative care. I think that's foolish. Uh-huh. There's the best of both worlds. Sometimes you have to have your appendix out, or you're going to die. Lyme disease. If you don't use antibiotics in that acute phase, you're setting yourself up for a lot of problems. So we're integrative by philosophy. We're not, unfortunately, I can't be licensed in my state under a licensing board, or I'll go to jail. So the way we practice is through the Pastoral Medical Association license to members only, and that gives us the protection to continue doing what we're doing. I had the board against me. I cannot tell you how many times I sat in their offices, them hounding me. So I finally gave up my license a number of years ago.
It's not worth it, is it? Yeah.
Just to be safe and to continue to do what we believe God's called us to do. So unfortunately, since we're not licensed as a medical professional in the state, there's no insurance coverage.
Yeah, we see that a lot. Have you heard of the Green Insurance? We did a whole show with this lady who has a company called Green Insurance, and she's doing a lot of great work and launching this huge organization that's all about catastrophic terminal. I'm not sure what the word she used, but it was for people that specifically want to go after natural cancer treatments and natural ways of treating their diseases, and it's called Green Insurance. Have you heard of that?
I haven't heard of that one. I know there's some Christian healthcare share organizations out there. I personally, my family belongs to Christian Healthcare Services, I think it's called. And you pay monthly, and it's a share ministry program kind of thing. We've had patients come to us in different things like that, and they actually pay for our care, which is kind of nice. Matter of fact, one of the share programs, when the patient told them the cost of our care for a year, which was less than one chemotherapy treatment, they actually even paid for their gas to drive up from Kansas City or wherever they lived.
Oh my gosh.
That was kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, it's for somebody who doesn't have any money and is broke, our plan is kind of expensive, but you compare it to one chemotherapy session, it's about equivalent to that. We do have financing available for everybody. We try to operate as a ministry, but we're not financially wealthy, so we can't treat everybody for free. But it is a burden out there, and if you are still tied into the insurance industry, you are governed to do everything that you're basically in bondage to their type of treatment plan as well. Then
that's a whole nother show, isn't it?
Yeah, we could talk for weeks about that.
I wanted to ask you about some of the things that we sort of teased before the break. Are there supplements people could take? Maybe B vitamins. I'm not sure what people could take if they're taking chemo and radiation to help mitigate some of that. Are there ways to help deal with that?
If you're doing chemotherapy is a very, very strong toxin. That's how it works. And it will be attracted to rapidly replicating cell lines, like I said, which cancer is, which is good. So chemotherapy is good in that sense. However, you want to get it out of your body within about 48 hours after you do chemotherapy, because now it's just going to do destruction. So how do you get any poison out of your body? You have to detox it through your liver detoxification pathways. So very important for someone who's going to do chemotherapy is make sure they have the healthiest liver detox pathways available, which are understand how different specific nutrients push different pathways. So you mentioned the B vitamins. Absolutely. So most of your B vitamins are essential for liver detoxification. Greater number of people have methylation pathway disturbances these days because of synthetic folic acid that's put into our food supply.
What is that called?
Causes
synthetic. What is it called?
Folic acid?
Well, you've heard of different methylation pathway breakdowns and defects. The theory on why, 30, 40 years ago, it was unheard of, and now it's on such a rise that 35% plus people are thought to have methylation pathway genetic changes is because of the introduction of synthetic folic acid into typically our grains.
Wow, interesting. I haven't heard that.
How does one go about testing for methylation, under methylation?
Well, there's numerous tests out there for methylation pathways.
Okay.
The problem is that the epigenetic changes on the methylation pathways, there's over 40 different possible changes. And right now, I think the blood test, they test for 3 to 6 of them.
Oh.
So I don't even think that, quite honestly, I don't even test my patients for that. Because to me, I try to conserve their money as much as possible. It's not, you're better off just assuming that you have a methylation pathway defect and just treat it. So you want to make sure that, so you go back to supplements that you should take.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk first supplements that you shouldn't take. Do not take synthetic B vitamins. So your synthetic B vitamins are going to be, how am I going to know if they're synthetic? Well, they're typically going to be cheap B vitamins that you could buy at Walmart or Kmart, or I can't say that online, can I? So at some of these outlet places that are selling inexpensive B vitamins, because most of the B vitamins that are sold and put into multiple vitamin compilations are made from coal tar.
We've heard that.
And they don't work the same as a natural whole food B vitamin would. Now, there's a growing number of companies that are jumping on the whole food bandwagon and understanding the chemistry of whole food supplementation versus synthetic supplementation. So it used to be, when I used to speak about this 25 years ago, there was only a few companies that actually made whole food Bs, and it was difficult to get them to people. Now there's numerous companies that make whole food B vitamins. One of the ways that you can tell that it's synthetic is typically a synthetic B vitamin will have a high concentration of the different B vitamins, if it's in a multiple, you can kind of read down. I used to teach a class on how to recognize good vitamins versus bad vitamins. Oh. But one of the ways you can do is it says folic acid on there, as typically that will be added to a B vitamin anyhow. Mm-hmm. That is the wrong type of folate that we need in our body and could contribute to methylation pathway epigenetic changes.
Interesting.
So, do you know what an epigenetic change is?
Yes. That's fascinating that it does that.
You'll actually pass that down to your children, that methylation pathway defect, because the synthetic folic acid actually damaged the DNA in your liver to be able to methylate and detoxify different things in your body.
Assuming that the supplement is good and high quality and whole food, would liquid be a better transport for supplements and vitamins and things because it's more absorbable?
Yes, I think so. I typically recommend a liquid vitamin B with the methyl tetrahydrofolate, which is the type of folate that you want to use.
I see.
And I'd like to have them put it in a shaker bottle, even add it to your water bottle, and sip it through the day. And I like to do that with a lot of the nutrients. And if it is a capsule form that you're taking, split up your dosage through the day, because most people don't realize your nutrients that you take in, a supplement, even a good whole food supplement you take in, has a half-life in your body. Matter of fact, the half-life of resveratrol is about 5 to 20 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So I'm taking 50 milligrams of resveratrol because I heard it's good for me, and I take it in the morning. Well, it's pretty much gone by 2 o'clock.
Huh.
Isn't that wild? Okay. Wow. And so B vitamins, I think, people could do juicing too. I think like cantaloupe rinds and watermelon rinds are really high in B vitamins, but
and just all different enzymes are good to help you break down different things. So your B vitamins, methyl tetrahydrofolate is the type of folate that you want to take. Very important for your methylation pathways.
Anything else for people when they're doing chemo that they should consider?
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of different liver herbs that would be really good to help them detox, and just help their liver detox pathways. If you're doing chemo, one of the most important thing is make sure your liver detox pathways are healthy. The other more important thing is you have to be stimulating your immune system. So your chemo is just destroying your immune response. You have to be doing some immune stimulants. Mm-hmm. And some of my favorite immune stimulants are herbal stimulants like astragalus and echinacea, and medicinal mushrooms.
Like the shaga and the rishis and things like that?
Yep. And I'll just give you just a quick hint. Medicinal mushrooms are probably the most common thing that we find as being successful to treat cancer.
Isn't that wild? That's amazing. So by medicinal, I'm sure there's lots of different types of medicinal mushrooms? There's
a lot of different medicinal mushrooms. We use a blend that I've created, but it's a blend of, I can't remember everything, but it's also got some other things in it, like elderberry and things like that as well. But, reishi, maitake, ashwagandha, which will help balance your hormones as well, because those are affected by chemo.
Now, we've heard doctors, at least I've heard traditionally trained medical doctors say that they really strongly recommend that you don't take these types of things because it'll interfere with the chemo. But I wanted to, what's your take on that?
Well, in a sense, you don't want to pull the chemo out the day that you get the chemo. But in reality, you're not going to be pulling the chemo out of your body that fast.
Okay.
By using herbs. It just doesn't work that way. So, they're ignorant on how your detoxification pathways really work. It's not like you're going to take milk thistle and all the chemo is going to drain out of your body and you're not going to have any effects of it.
Yeah, I can't see that happening either.
So you do not need to discontinue those things while you're taking chemo. There's no scientific proof of that theory.
And so when people do the chemotherapy and radiation and they, let's say like you mentioned earlier in the show, they do get that clean bill of health, now the journey is just sort of beginning, right? Because they now want to work to get all that stuff out of their system. Is that right?
That's right. And if a person had a choice, and I've had patients come to me and say, well, my doctor said I either need to do chemo or radiation, what do you think I should do? Well, I don't get into answering that question, but it is, you'd be much better off choosing chemotherapy. And it depends on the area. If you're going to radiate a part of your spine because you have cancer in the spine and the pain is just unbearable, that's where radiation can be more beneficial. But when you're radiating the prostate or something like that, that radiation is going to stay in your body for a long time, and it continues to get worse. Detoxification of radiation is very, very poor. It's not like the chemical detoxification of a chemotherapy where if you have good detox pathways, you can eventually get rid of it. Radiation gets worse over time. So we use typically homeopathic chelation for radiation when a person's done with radiation. So that would be something that I would recommend listeners, if they've had radiation, to talk to a homeopath to help chelate that out. Homeopathy works much better in chelating radiation than anything else does, at least what we found.
So why does it get worse over time? What does it do? Does it sort of build in the body, the radiation, or?
Because it just continues to just destroy. Where chemistry, like a chemotherapy, your body will just keep breaking that down. Your body just has no way to break down a source of radiation.
So when someone gets radiation, because a lot of times people will talk about radiation burns, and I've heard people too talk about how the radiation was much more damaging for them than the chemotherapy was. But
it's way worse. It's way worse. Matter of fact, there's a very high incidence of melanoma at the site of radiation with women with breast cancer who had radiation. It's very common that they end up with melanoma years down the road.
Isn't that wild? Wow. So if someone finishes with all that, then they really want to do some work and finding out cleansing and detox, I would imagine for the rest of their life, right? I mean, that would be good for anybody.
Well, and that's the important thing is that I don't believe you're ever cured of cancer. Mm-hmm. What you want to do is take cancer and turn it from a deadly disorder to a chronic, manageable condition.
Okay.
I had cancer, and now I'm going to take care of myself the rest of my life. So, so it doesn't rear its ugly head and try to kill me again.
I love that way of looking at it.
Well, Dr. Connors, you spent so much time with us today. We really appreciate it. We're about 10 minutes over time, so I don't want to keep you because I know you got a busy practice. But I'm fascinated by your work. I'm fascinated by the Rife technology that you talked about because those were YouTube videos I saw of you doing conferences and lectures about the Rife technology, right?
There are, yep.
Awesome. And so people go home with that. Man, we need to do a whole show just on that.
I know, right?
That's fascinating stuff. Well, thank you so much, Dr. Connors, for being on the show. We really appreciate I feel like we barely scratched the surface. There's so much more to talk about, but if people want to find out more about you, they can go to stopfightingcancer.com.
They can, or our main website, Upper Room Wellness. And by next week, we'll have our new website, Connors Clinic, up and running.
I love it. Well, hang on the line there, Dr. Connors, because I want to say goodbye to you after the break or after we go off the air. But I want to thank everyone for being on in the chat room. Isby, C. Bizzle, Susan,
Farmer Mark,
all kinds of really great people and some regulars. Thank you so much for being in the chat room. And we do live shows every Friday morning here at extremehealthradio.com/live at 9 a.m. Pacific time. So make sure to check those out, get your questions answered, and we do our best to ask all the questions that we possibly can and keep the flow of the conversation going. So we appreciate all you guys so much. And if you would like to support us, pass the show on to your friends and let everyone know about Dr. Connors' work and what he's doing, and we'd appreciate that. So we appreciate all of you guys being on the live show. And what we're going to do is break down a lot of what we talked about after the show. So stay tuned for the podcast version. Kate and I are going to talk about a lot of cool things. So thank you so much for being on, everyone, and we'll catch you on the next episode.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Connors. We'll be in touch soon, and I'll send your assistants the link to the show probably in the next couple of days when it goes live.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Awesome.
Wonderful.
Thanks,
Thank
Doc.
you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Well, we just spent a great time with Dr. Connors. We're going to take a short break, but I've got a lot of things to say about this show. Do you?
My brain can't stop thinking about the show. Yes, I have a few things.
Lots to share. Okay, we're going to take a little break, and we'll be right back right after this. I have been a huge fan of rebounding for many, many years, and if you want to get in great cardiovascular shape, tone your legs, back, and butt, and stomach, as well as cleanse your lymphatic system from toxins and chemicals, you just have to start rebounding. It's imperative. And not only will it create endorphins that quickly become addictive to you, but it's very low impact as well. It helps to prevent sicknesses and diseases, as well as increase bone density, and it flushes toxins from your lymphatic system. It's amazing. And not only that, but it's a ton of fun also. I do it every single day for about 15 minutes. And we found the best rebounder on the market today in the world, bar none. It's called the Bellicon Rebounder. It's the Rolls-Royce of rebounders, in my opinion. And let's listen to some of what our guests have had to say about rebounding. Robert von Sarbacher is a health researcher and creator of the Mini Beat Protocol. And Robert, what's your favorite exercise?
In general, probably one of the number one anti-aging exercises on the planet is rebounding. So 15 minutes a day is good for that. You can find people who have had thermography scans on cancers, giant tumors, and when they're doing a rebounder, it would start spewing out and shrinking right in front of your eyes, the tumor would, as they're on the rebounder. So it's really good for that sort of thing. It's also very good for exercising internal organs. It's the only internal organ exerciser that I know of known to man.
Dr. Lindsay Duncan is the CEO and founder of Genesis Today. And what's the best way that you think of to stimulate the lymphatic system of the body?
Rebounding is incredible because it's good for the lymphatic system, and there's more lymph fluid in the body than there is blood. And the quickest way and the most effective way to get the lymphatic system flowing is through rebounding itself.
Yeah, because the lymphatic system can't really detox itself, can it? I think
No, the heart, we have the heart, thank you, for pumping blood. And we don't have a heart to pump lymphatic fluid. The only thing that really can pump lymphatic fluid is cardiovascular exercise utilizing the thighs, the thigh muscles. And that's why rebounding and getting a burn in that thigh muscle is so important for the flow and the stimulation of the lymphatic fluid.
Wow, and they even put cancer patients on rebounding, don't they?
Nutritionists do.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but not a conventional doctor. But yeah, I've been learning about rebounding lately. It's quite an amazing thing.
Yeah, rebounding's amazing.
Health researcher and author of Cancer Step Outside the Box, Ty Bollinger. What do you do in your life to prevent cancer?
What do you do to treat cancer? What do you do to prevent it? Rebounding is something that I try to do on a daily basis. A little mini trampoline for those people that aren't familiar with the term rebounding, but it's basically just jumping up and down on a little mini tramp. What that does is it stimulates the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is one of our primary detoxification systems in our body, and most folks don't stimulate their lymph flow, and so the toxicity in their body builds up because their lymph is not stimulated, and the up-down motion on a rebounder stimulates the lymph flow better than just about any other exercise. So I do that almost on a daily, probably 5 days a week. I would say I average doing that.
And finally, author and speaker and creator of the Longevity Now program, David Wolf. Do you think the Bellicon is the best rebounder on the market today?
Absolutely. I was just with the crew in Europe that does the Bellicon rebounder, which is an incredible rebounder. My God, what a machine. And it doesn't use metal springs. It uses like flexi ropes. So it's very soft and fun, and it's just great to play with.
Well, there you have it. The up and down G-force actually stimulates every single cell in your body. It's incredible. And as someone who works out in the gym a lot and does Qigong, I think that the best physical aerobic exercise, in my opinion, is rebounding. It's just absolutely incredible for the human body. And the Bellicon is silent, and it comes with a warranty, and you can get them in several different sizes and colors, and some of them have bars that you can hold on to in case you're worried about balance. It's a well worth it investment in your health and in your future. So check them out in our store if you'd like, or you can check out the videos on extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/Bellicon. That's B as in boy, ELLICON.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
Man, I could use a little Rife frequency program written for my lower back here.
I know. Gosh darn it.
Oh,
People
man.
can buy a Rife machine for their home use, correct?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
How much? They're pretty pricey. Like thousands, like 5, 6, 7,000.
I think we'll put a link to this. Maybe you can write this down. The link that we got from Andy, was it Andy his name?
Andy at Hill Country Health.
Hill Country Health Store in Texas. It was truerife.com, TRUE.
That's right.
RIFE, and you used a little bit of it, didn't you?
I did. I sat there. That guy was interesting, Andy.
He was fascinating.
I sat there with the Rife machine on my pancreas.
I
was there for like an hour and a half, I think, for the cycle to go. But halfway during, he came and put a mud pack up on my upper lip. Remember that?
Yeah, you look like Hitler.
I did look
you did.
like Hitler.
That was awesome.
Oh my gosh, that's not good. But he did. He made this little mud concoction, came up and put this little tiny mustache up on my lip, and very interesting, that Rife machine to me.
Yeah, really, really fascinating stuff. And funny how he says that's part of the protocol. Like if you go to see him, that's what you do.
That's what you do.
Yeah, you got to get one.
I really, I understand that though. For someone, I mean, Dr. Connor seems like he has quite an arsenal of tools in his belt.
Mm-hmm.
But it definitely seems to me like if you're going to do something, and that's a key component of it, it's almost like you're all in or you're all out, you know?
Say again? Like,
well, it's hard to be able to, if you went and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to buy a Rife machine, how's that going to happen? But it's almost like you have to have it all. I'm sure if you took out that one component, it's not going to be effective. So it's almost like, you commit. It's like, are you jumping off the cliff or are you going to stay on? You can't have 1 foot in, 1 foot out with this kind of a protocol.
What do you think about what he was saying about how he doesn't particularly like the idea of having a cancer treatment overtake your life? Do you think that's good or do you think that's bad? I guess, he's getting great success, but... I felt
great relief when I heard him say that.
Because it seems kind of counterintuitive because like the different sort of natural cancer treatments that are out there, I think the one that he didn't say but sort of alluded to was the Gerson, where you're making like 16 juices per day. So every waking hour, you're making a juice with like a Norwalk juicer and doing a series of coffee enemas.
Well, it's interesting though, on his site that I looked at this morning before the show, I spent a few minutes poking around on there, and at the clinic, they do offer Gerson-esque treatments.
Oh, do they?
Yes, and they implement a lot of those therapies into the protocol specifically for the person that they're treating. I do, however, feel though like it's probably I like how he's combining these things. It might not be 16 juices 1 hour or twice an hour for the day. It might be juicing is really good to add in, but it's not as intense because then it's almost like I get what he's saying. You're focused. If you're focused on this Gerson thing, that's going to overtake your life, and all you're going to think about what you're doing is fighting this cancer. And from the people I really respect, like the Louise Hayes and the people who have kind of cured themselves by, or should I say cured, have diminished their
diseases. We'll put you in jail if you use that C word.
I'm not a doctor though, so I don't know. Can I say that?
No, wow.
The people that have helped themselves and treated themselves with their cancers are the ones I really look up to are the ones that aren't focused on it. Yeah,
that's true.
Someone with a chronic digestive issue and some pancreatic issues and things like that, I feel better personally when I get out of that space in my head. It's like psychosomatic. The more I focus on it, the more I test for things, it consumes me.
I think, too, there's something, we were just talking about this the other day, about how, what did you do recently where you were having stomach issues and stomach pain, but then you went and did something and it went away? What was that? Because I was telling you about when I, once a week I'll go over to a friend of mine, his house with a couple other friends, and we'll sit in the jacuzzi. And so the rest of the week is detox from that.
Right.
But, I figured one vice. But sometimes, I've gone over there once with a really bloated stomach or just maybe indigestion or something, and just hanging out with friends in an environment that's not your house where you're not thinking about stuff. You're having fun, so your body's creating all these endorphins and things. I feel like it's healing, right? It's like going to a concert or going to a baseball game or something.
Well, we were talking about that. I went to Disneyland with my family on Tuesday.
Oh, that's right.
And I had been feeling digestively horrible the week prior. And all of a sudden I go to Disneyland. I have the exact same diet. I'm gone all day. I come back and I was like, man, I felt really good today.
Wow.
And
How many churros and pretzels did you eat?
I wouldn't go that far. No, but I was eating these almond-based crackers. They usually really mess me up. And I was desperate to take snacks to Disneyland because I wasn't going to be eating their pizza and their freaky Frankenburgers there and stuff like that, So, but when I came home, I said, man, I'm feeling the best I've felt in months. And you said, isn't that funny? And we had that conversation about when you shift your focus to focusing on how horrible you feel to getting out of I wasn't even thinking. I was too busy to think about it. So I really like his approach, between stop, kind of waving the white flag and not fighting something, but having a plan using wisdom. I really agree with that pillar.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a very wise thing to do. But I agree when you're focused on surviving and you feel horrible, your quality of life is like, why are you fighting for this life that is no longer meaningful to you, or all it is consumed by is these treatments? And it kind of takes away the essence of what life is supposed to be.
Yeah, it's true.
I like his approach personally. I would definitely go see him.
Nice balanced approach.
I think so.
Yeah, and I didn't mention this on the show, but if you have Lyme disease, there's also someone you can look into. I wanted to ask him, but I didn't want to get too far off into Lyme. But there's a guy named Dr. Trevor Marshall from Australia, and doing some really interesting work with the vitamin D receptors, low dose naltrexone, pulsed antibiotics, where you're doing like 1/4 of a tablet of a tablet that where you're supposed to take 3 of those tablets per day, but you're taking 1/4 of one tablet every 2 weeks, kind of a thing. It's like this really low dose pulsed antibiotics. And I think his website's marshallprotocol.com or something like that. You can look it up online, Marshall Protocol for Lyme. But I don't know much other than that. So I know he's really controversial because he does do antibiotics. But then again, Dr. Connors himself did antibiotics as well. So I think at all costs you should avoid antibiotics if at all possible, and only take them. I mean, Lyme's is a serious issue, and if I had Lyme's, then that would be something definitely that I want to consider. But not for the cold or flu or throat infection. I mean, these are all things that people can overcome through their own immune system and doing some deep healing without taking antibiotics, So that's something I wanted to mention too. But he's also got that free Lyme book, which is cool, beatingchroniclyme.com. You can download the book and listen or watch Lyme videos he's got on there. I feel like we should tell our friend about this.
I do too. Has
she done a lot of work with Lyme, or she has, or she was?
She's been that's who I was referring to. I mean, I've had a couple people that I know from the chat room and that are other friends of mine that have been either misdiagnosed or underdiagnosed, or she's done so many tests and it keeps coming back negative. But the way that Dr. Connors, I think, did the best job explaining how Lyme works and why it's so hard to test for, and also with the methylation thing, because that's something I've been dealing with, is this undermethylation possibility.
Right.
And it's like, gosh, like, he's right. Why waste time and money? Almost act as if you have these things, especially with the methylation. But as far as the Lyme test goes, I'm interested to see what his other testing was. 'Cause remember, he said that he does another form of testing for Lyme.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what that was.
Was it Lyme that he was talking about, where there's like a few, like 400 different things, and they only test for 6 of them, or was that something else? I feel like that was something else.
That was methylation.
That's right, methylation. Yeah.
Yeah. So why? I mean, I've actually been talking to my naturopath about how do I test for methylation? What do I do? And there is a test, but I mean, if it's only going to test for 6 out of 40 possible things or 600 things, I mean, it's almost to act as if you have these methylation. I can pretty much detect that I do have undermethylation issues,
right?
Because of how my body reacts to certain foods and things. But
yeah,
as far as the Lyme testing, man, he explained Lyme to me better than anybody else, or at least it resonated with me more, along with the causes of MS and ALS, with the microphage.
Yeah, and the spirochetes and all that stuff. Yeah, well, I know someone who has, what is it, multiple sclerosis or ALS right now. And I just want to let people know that, man, you can get to the bottom of these things if you don't let the disease progress to the point where it's insurmountable to overcome it. But yeah, I bet you anything that there's some sort of heavy metal component to this, Lyme component that's sort of coming out now, with people. And I want to let people know too that he mentioned stress and stuff, and so I want to turn people on to a couple different shows that we've done with some great people that I've been looking more into their work recently, and that is Dr. Peter DeWitt.
Yes.
And he was episode 161. So we'll put their names here, and on this show page, extremehealthradio.com/360. Is that what it is?
You got it.
360. We'll put links to these shows too. Is also Dr. Gilbert Renaud, and these guys are doing what they call recall healing, getting to the root cause of the emotional trauma that lies at the foundation of cancer. And it's really fascinating stuff. And because we talked a little bit at the beginning of this show about finding the cause, and I believe that when you find the cause, you have much more tools and options available for you to be able to deal with the cancer. So I would look into those two guys, Gilbert Renaud and Dr. Peter DeWitt. We'll link up both their shows. And also, we shared this link in the chat room, too. Amy Gray.
Carrie Gray.
Carrie Gray, yeah.
Yeah, that's an interesting one to me. I'm really glad you brought that up because
Green Insurance, episode 184.
Was it episode 184?
Yeah, I'll put a link to it.
Okay. Yeah, because I think hers was if you have a terminal diagnosis or a 6 month to live kind of a thing.
Oh, is that what it is?
I think that was it. Don't quote me on that, but you could basically go wherever you want for whatever kind of treatment and have it covered. That was the beauty of it, that you could have these treatments and clinics covered. You could go wherever you wanted in the world, and that is an amazing
that's
opportunity.
Pretty good stuff, I think.
Oh gosh, I still would. You and I have talked about looking into that so much more, and that's something on the list. It's just
I know
one of these days.
Yeah, we'll do it.
We'll get to it.
Yeah.
That was a great show.
Yeah, we'll put links to all that stuff, and let's see who's coming up next week. I want to let everyone know so that they can.
How's your back holding up over there?
It's holding up pretty good. I'm going to use the laser on it right after this and
good call.
Get to the bottom of it. Next week we have Dr. J.E. Williams.
Dr. J.E. Williams.
We're going to be talking about natural health. Let's see. So if you have any questions, he's a really great naturopathic doctor, knows a ton about cancer, osteoporosis, all kinds of cool stuff. So we'll be talking to him next week. And we didn't even mention at the beginning of the show that people can support us via Amazon, right?
Right.
So what we've been encouraging people to do, because people have been writing in and asking if they can support us via Amazon, the best thing to do is go to extremehealthradio.com/Amazon, or there's a link on the right-hand side of our website. If you click on that link and then go up to your browser and bookmark that link, and then whenever you go to Amazon in the future, you use that bookmark browser link in your browser, and that way we'll get credit, because I think we need, people need to go through each and every single time that they purchase from Amazon. So,
okay.
So that helps.
Yeah.
Pretty cool though, right?
Yeah. You guys, for everybody who's done that, I mean, that's keeping us rolling. We can see the months where Amazon people have really stepped up the A game, and that really keeps us happy over here.
Yeah,
and the lights on.
There was
the AC on today because it's so hot.
It's so hot. There was a girl that just I think she bought a juicer or a blender or something. Not a Vitamix or Blendtec, the ones that we sell directly, but it was some other kind. And she wanted to buy it on Amazon, so she reached out to us to.
Oh, very cool.
So that all that helps so much.
All that helps.
Yeah, so we appreciate that.
Thank you, guys.
And if you guys also would like to send the show to your friends on Facebook, that would be great. We'd appreciate that so much. I got a little Maggie here.
The little Maggie's trying to come jump up on you.
Jump up. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. Is there anything else we need to share or cover or anything?
Just I want to let everybody know how excited we are to be working on behind the scenes projects. If you think we're over here twiddling our thumbs and only having one show a week and taking a vacay, I just want to tell everyone that we are coming back, and we are
in full vengeance
and creating some amazing stuff that we hope you guys are really going to enjoy in the future. So it's allowing us to really, really have some time to work on these things, especially now that I've quit my job, if I can believe I've even said that.
I know, isn't that cool?
It's amazing. So really, really grateful, and just want to encourage everybody that we are still on the scene and providing tons of content behind the scenes as well. So definitely.
Hey, do you know who we have in the next 2 weeks?
Hey, no.
Dr. Artur I forget, this is a really tough name to say, but we're going to be talking about breathing using the Butenko method. And the breath and oxygenation, breathing slower and less, the greatest health discovery ever.
I thought you said breeding.
Breeding.
Well, that's a different kind of a show.
That's a late night podcast. That's
We're going to talk about breeding. No, breathing. That's a huge integral part of healing, isn't it? And
I love free
well-being.
things. Free things people can do that don't really cost much.
Me too.
So if you guys want to support us, we have our store as well with the Qigong, the Bellicon rebounders, Blendtec blenders, Vitamix blenders, saunas, all kinds of cool stuff in the store. So we'd appreciate your support any way you possibly can extend that. We'd appreciate it so much. And
we sure love you guys.
Yeah. Oh, man. It's just,
what a journey.
Could do this without you. And so we appreciate it. All right. Is that a wrap?
I think that is a wrap.
Okay. All right, everyone. We'll catch you on the next episode.
Hey, everybody. This is Josie, Justin's mum. Don't tell him, but I know he would absolutely be really happy if you would sign up to his free weekly newsletter. And don't forget to share this with all your friends. This is the buzzing bumblebee signing off.
That's so good.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even if you educate yourself in the field of live food, nutrition, and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any information in this blog or to start any health program without first consulting a health professional. The content found here is for informational purposes only and is in no way intended as medical advice, as a substitute for medical counseling, or as a treatment/cure for any disease or health condition, and nor should it be continued as such. Always work with a qualified healthcare professional before making any changes to your diet, prescription drug use, lifestyle, or exercise activities. This information is provided as is